Welcome to today's class. Today we are going to look at multiplication and division of sod. We are going to take some examples we have on the board on this topic. The first example says we should look for sod 45 times sod 28. So what we are going to do now, we are going to look for the two multiples of 45. Now when we times it, it will give us 45, but the first number must have a square root. And the multiples of 45 will give us 9 times 5. Although we have different multiples that will give us 45, we are going to pick out the one that when you times it, it will give 45, but the first one must have a square root. That is sod. That is why it's called sod. So we are using what? 9 times 5 to give us what? 45. Then we go down to the other one, which is what? 28. We are looking at the two numbers that when we multiply it, it will give us 28. And among those two numbers, the first one must have a square root. We are going to use 4 times 7 will give us 20. That must, so let's write 4 times 7. When we have done this, we are going to split each of them into their various sod. So we are going to have this as well. So 9 times sod 5. Then put our big times. We split this also to their various sod. We have this as well. Sod 4 times sod 7. The next we are going to go for the what? Square root of 9. So square root of 9 will give us what? 3. Attach this sod 5 to each sod, which is what? 3 sod 5. Times square root of 4 will give us what? 2. Attach this 7 to it, which is what? Sod 7. So we have this as what? 2 sod 7. Then the next we are going to do, since we are looking on times now, on multiplication, we are going to times the numbers that are outside, which is what? 3 times 2. Is that not? Then you look at this sod now, the numbers in the sod are different numbers. It's not like the previous one we did where we did a similar sod that the two numbers are this. When the two numbers are the same, you pick one of the number. But this one, the numbers are different. So since the numbers are different, we are going to multiply each of the numbers. We are going to have what? 5 times 7. So now I'm going to say 3 times 2 will give us what? 6. Then you times this now. 5 times 7 will give us what? 35. So our answer now is what? 6 to what? So 35. So this is our answer. We're going to look at example 2. We have sod 24 all over sod 50. So now what are the two multiples? The two numbers that will multiply it, it will give us 24. And the first number must have a square root. 4 times 6 will give us 24. That also, we are going to say 4 times 6 to give us 24. Then all over, we'll go to the denominator, sod 50. What are the two numbers that when we multiply it, it will give us 50? And the first number must have a square root. So what we have there is what we are going to use is what? 25 times 2 to give us 50. So I'm going to put down my solution. 25 times 2 to give us 50. Now we are going to split each of them. We have this as sod 4 times sod 6 all over what? Sod 25 times sod 2. This is same thing as square root of 4 will give us what? 2 to sod 6. Square root of 25 will give us what? 5 to sod 2. When you get to this stage, now something can divide, is that not? So 2 can go into 6. So I'm going to say 2 here 1, 3 into 6 will give us what? 3. So what is left here is what? 2 sod 3. That is it, 3 here all over 5. So this is our answer. Now we are going to take example 3. Let's look at example 3. We have sod 60 times sod 180 all over sod 75. Look at this now. This has a multiplication and a division sign in it. We have sod 60 times sod 180 all over what? Sod 75. When you have a question like this, the first thing we are going to do, we are going to multiply the two numbers, because we are dealing, you can see that we are not going to say let's look for the sort this and sort this. No, we are going to multiply the two, because we are dealing on multiplication now. So we are going to multiply the numerator and divide it with the denominator, all with their different sort. So what am I trying to say now is this: I'm going to put my sort, then I'll put my 60 times 180, then all over sort 75. So this is the same thing as saying 60 times 180 will give us what? 10,800. Bring down your overall. So I want to make it one single sort, so as we carry everything, then all over 75. I'm making this one single sort, square root, going for the numerator and the denominator. So now the next one we are going to divide. 75 divided by 10,800 give us what? 144. So when you get to this stage, you are going to look for the square root. So the square root of 144 will give us what? 12. So this is that one. Answer. So when you are given any question on sort, all you need to do, mostly on multiplication and division, all you need to do is to split it, most especially if it's on multiplication. First thing you have to do is to split them into their different numbers of that multiples. That one of them must have the square root. If it doesn't have the square root, please don't use that number. You must go for the one that has the square root. That's why it is called sort. So once you are choosing the number that rhymes with the question given to you, then you split them into their various sort. Once you have done that, you look for the square root of the one you have used that has the square root. Then combine it with the one that does not have the square root. Then if it's times, you simplify for that. If it's divide, the same thing applies. And just like this, we did division. You look for the different multiples of that will give you 24. That when you times 6, it will give 24. But the first one has a square root. So that is 4 times 6. The same thing with this 50. We are using 25 times 2. You split them into their various, so that is why we have this. Then you look for the square root of each of them. The square root of 4 will give us 2. Then 2 root 6. Then all over. The square root of 25 will give us 5 to root 2. Then you cancel if you're on division. If something can cancel, you cancel. If nothing can cancel, then you leave that way, depending on the question. This one I will have to cancel. Cancel will give us what? 2 divided by 6 will give us what? 3. So what is remaining here is what? 2, so 3 all over what? 5. Then we look at the one that has multiplication and division. You do the same thing, but what you are doing here is that because this one has a numerator and a denominator, that's the multiplication and denominator, and it's all about multiplication and division. We're having two different numbers. All you are going to do is to multiply the two numbers. When you multiply the two numbers all over your denominator, but when you have done that, then you divide, then you look for your square root. So that is all about multiplication and division of sort. Thank you very much.